Hello everyone and welcome to another Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous State of the Game. I've got a couple of things that have been going on in my life recently, actually really amazing things. I went back to school 3 years ago and I started on my way towards a degree in organizational communication because I eventually want to get a master's in global integrated communication. I've been going to work pretty much 5 days a week, about almost 50 hours a week, and going to school 2 days a week for 12 credits for 3 years now. And it really does take its toll on me, but I haven't felt it until just recently. It's like the last part of last semester and the beginning of this semester, I went through a period of time where I had the flu, then I had pneumonia, then I had the flu again, and then I came down with a cold that I just couldn't get rid of. And I looked at my schedule going, I'm working 7 days a week all the time. It's taking away from not just my studies and my social life and me being productive at home, but it's taking parts of my life away. I mean, like, just ripped them away from me. But I've enjoyed it. I mean, if you look at one friend that's actually seen it up close, it would probably be Sebi Lewicka, or Sebi Davis Jr. from The Enablers. He actually spent a month away from Chicago and spent that time here in Atlanta, and actually stayed with my roommate and I for a month, and he got to see pretty much how much my life is hectic. He looked at me and said, "You're just always going," and I forget, he said something else, but it was kind of weird. So I finally looked at it and said, you know, this semester I have a really full schedule, but I have an opportunity this semester to do something that is different. I could actually work and go to school on one of my days. So it took me until about last week to make that work. I had to figure out how am I going to make that work, because my class is right dead in the middle of the day and it's 20 minutes away, 25 with a walk, 35 with a walk from the car to the class, and it's an hour and 15-minute class. So I had to look at my day so I didn't have one of those days where I would be leaving on a Thursday morning at like 8:30 and coming back at 8:30, because a 12-hour day is going to kill you if you have to go into a weekend in retail. But I worked it the last 2 weeks and it actually worked, and I feel so much better, so much more relieved. And I just feel like I have all this energy and I can actually sit down and have a day where I can do my studies and put some time into the game. And it even made me start watching all of Star Citizen's videos, CIG's videos. You know, it's still coming out. It's been 5 years since I dedicated my life, my time, my energy, my passion, my obsession to this game. And the first thing I start doing with my extra time is playing Fallout. It's not because Star Citizen sucks. It's a great demo, but it's just because after 5 years we still have excellent building blocks for what will be a wonderful game at some point in the future. So I had all this like intent on getting in here and doing lots of videos over the course of the last week for Star Citizen. Sat down and said, meh, there's not enough there to talk about. And that's what happened. So it's kind of like this. You just saw a scene where I got into the game. The frame rate was starting to go down and got all the way out to the airlock and it crashed. So that's exactly what happened to my whole thought process on Star Citizen. In the meantime, I'm playing a lot of Fallout. And I'm finding the elements of Fallout, which has nothing to do with space flight or flying or anything else at all. And I'm like, why am I so obsessed with this game? And it's because of the story. It's kind of like an MMO without being an MMO. You know, it has that holy trinity of spending time, getting levels, building gear up. And I'm like, well, Star Citizen is going to offer this. It's going to offer that same look and feel. And then I started going back and looking at the old games that Chris Roberts gave us, like Wing Commander and Privateer, and I'm like, alright, so yes, this is going to be cool. This is going to be fun. Alright, I could put myself back into this game again. So it's been a bit since I actually logged into Star Citizen, mainly because I'm waiting for 3.1. And evidently now I'm waiting for 3.3 because freaking ridiculously stupid expectations set by CIG broken again. And, you know, what am I talking about? Female model. What am I talking about? Mining. What am I talking about? Anything. But I have to give them kudos because now they're developing the game the way I thought they always should be developing it, which is they're going to have quarterly patches, and whatever makes it, makes it. But I can't believe that after 5 years we still don't have a female model in this game. That's the one thing that baffles me. However, okay, let's get past the bad stuff. Let's talk about some of the good stuff. So, when I first started playing Star Citizen, and that was, I guess you could say the game was playable in some way, shape, or form, in 2014, I had just purchased a X55 Rhino, and it was one of the very, very early models. And I was using it a lot for Elite Dangerous, which is still a rockin' game. I don't care what anybody in Star Citizen says. It's still a great game. I love it. But I started using that, and it was wonderful. Right up until 2017, when buttons and wear and tear on the product had destroyed it. And I went through the process of getting it replaced recently, and Logitech was amazingly awesome with it. And now I have an X56. And although it is not the best stick, although it still has some major flaws that the other one did, mostly, it's a tremendously big stick, and it holds itself high off your desk, so you really have to figure out a way to put it on a stand. But it has breathed new life into playing the game for me. And that's one. So I'm using the X56, and yes, I've been using the 16000M, and I've gone back and forth between single and dual joystick modes. I really like the hands-on throttle and stick better than the two joystick, and I like having a lot more buttons than you do on the T16000. Yes, I could have gone for a Thrustmaster. Oh my god, I can't say this because I think this is the most awesome joystick ever, but the Warthog, but I didn't want to spend another $500 on a stick when Logitech was going to upgrade me for, well, pennies on the dollar to to bring me up to satisfaction on my joystick. And you know, now I'm having fun with Star Citizen again. Alright, so that was A. So I got my joystick all set up. B was, I play a lot of flight sims, and those videos are coming back to this channel. And I know that I built this channel on Star Citizen, but I've got a very diverse interest in gaming, and I believe that I should put my videos of all of them up here. Elite Dangerous, X-Plane, oh, the brand new Flight Sim World, which is getting better all the time, and Star Citizen, and whatever else comes out. Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. Those are all old, very old, but very fun games for me. But my number one genre, which will be space sims and flight sims, so I'm going to put them into one, really can benefit from something else new, another upgrade. So over the last week, 2 weeks, I sold my Dell G-Sync monitor, took money that I had put away, had a big contributor give me money, and I bought an Asus PG348Q ultra widescreen 3440 by 1440 monitor. And that's why you're seeing a 21:9 video today with black on top and bottom. Okay? And it just absolutely made playing the game awesome. So I'm kind of back. I have time. I've got interest. I've got amazing setups thanks to Logitech. Thank you so much for fixing a bad experience. Thanks to an anonymous benefactor. I have a great screen, and the game is just wonderful. And 3.01, although not perfect, although it still has its problems, in the immortal words of Lieutenant Colonel, sorry, in the immortal words of Lieutenant Colonel Pappy Boyington from The Enablers, the game's so broken I can't play it, but I can, and I like it. You know, it's kind of fun. So I jump back into the game and everything is reset. You know, the hundreds of thousands of credits I'd made, and a lot of you made millions of credits, moving stuff back and forth, because there really is no narrative in the game yet. And there will be, because this is a Chris Roberts game. All that money gone. My spacesuits, my bits and pieces, my upgrades for my ships, all gone. And I started off with $5K in the bank. But it made me think of doing something. I mean, this one run was kind of broken in many places, but it was a good run. It made me think, let me just make believe all I own is an Aurora and see what happens. Oh, we know what happens. We know what happens. The game's broken. I have issues in some places, and I get back and make very little money. But I had a great time. It's amazing how many times I move away from the game and come back to it and have a great time. And then I play it for a few days, and I stop playing it for a while. And then I come back to it and have a great time. And then play it for a few days, go away, come back, and have a great time. We know that this is early access, that it is a alpha, that it has its problems, that it's in development, that it sprung from an idea that Chris Roberts had in 2012, almost 6 years ago. And the game probably has 2 more years to go before it's even close to being the game that we all want it to be. But the more time goes on, the more faith I have in the game becoming something that's better than I ever thought it was going to be. And I'm still frustrated. I'm still pissed. I'm still pissed off at CIG for my show. But it doesn't remove my belief. It doesn't remove my excitement. It doesn't remove my commitment to the game. I'm very intrigued with where they're going to be a year from now, because I know that this year we're still just going to be working on the Stanton system, right? We're going to add more places to go. I mean, that was one of the slides that they said. You know, we're going to have Nyx, we're going to have Goss, we're going to have Terra, and all those things are going to come down the line, you know, down the pipe. But I'm pretty happy the way that they're doing it, giving us this small system. Building out the systems here. And building out the gameplay here. And then moving it on. And the reason for that is that with the limited number of people that are going into the game every day, with the system being small, and I could see them adding like Hurston and a couple more planets in this R-Corp, a couple more planets in this system, but with the limited number of planets that we have now, I rarely see people on the same planet at the same place. I mean, this, even though it is 1/1 billionth of the size of the, even smaller than that, of the Elite Dangerous universe, I actually have a shot of seeing somebody else, but I rarely do see other people at the same place that I go to. I mean, there's some, like the ArcCorp mining and Shubin mining places, I usually see people. But there are cases where I just, or times I just land my Cutlass or I land my Constellation at one of those places and then put my Nox into it. My Nox? Not my Nox. What is it? My Dragonfly into it. And then go land some place on a planet, some place on a moon, on one of the smaller, you know, planetoids like Delamar, and far away from where everybody's going to land, and just take out my Dragonfly and ride around and look at it. This game's going to be awesome someday. Oh, and I say that as one of my favorite bugs comes up, which is I turn on my engines, my throttle is off, and the ship goes launching off into something. Let's just put it this way, for 5 minutes you're going to watch this sitting against this pallet of containers and not moving, and then finally I fix it. But this is the kind of bug I expect to be in the game at this point. So we're just going to move past this. So just an FYI, this was a issue that started at 17 minutes into my playthrough and was resolved at 22 minutes into my playthrough. So for 5 minutes I was stuck. But I rescued my ship, figured out that it was stuck in decoupled mode, and fixed it and got myself going again. In the end, I had to open the doors and extend the ladders to get out of that bug. But it worked. And I know that these things will be worked on. But I know that it's a situation where CIG has to get as much of the game out there as they can. And then start to fix those bugs, so then they could start to add the content into the game that's going to keep us coming back. And that's going to be that transitional stage that we should see by the end of this year to the beginning of next year. The stage I'm looking for that takes this game from being really cool to go into. I know people are so excited to be playing something that there's already Reddit, you know, subreddits and websites and whole videos dedicated to what are the best and absolutely most profitable trade routes, which in my eyes means nothing. It's a waste of my time, not a waste of their time, because they're finding a way to have fun with this game. But it's not the part of the game that I see as being fun. So I'm pretty damn bored at times, but I come back into the game from time to time and say, oh my god, that was such a good time. But what does make the game better? So this is where I start to tie in what I've been doing recently. So my recent foray into the gaming has been quite diverse. It's back into X-Plane 11. And I purchased, what do they call it? It's a play stand or flight stand or wheel stand pro for my yoke and throttle and pedals, and now I could wheel those away or put them back in front of the computer and play. So getting into X-Plane 11 has been fun, and I think those videos are pretty decent because it's a time when I can actually just talk to people, and I think that's what I'm going to turn those videos into when they come back. I've been playing a lot of WoWs, which is World of Warships, and that game, ever since they added in the co-op mode, that game has been amazing. I'm having tea while I'm talking to you folks. And I like it because it's strategy. You get to play with friends from time to time, but you get to play with people, and then after a while you start to see that you're playing with the same people, so you group up, and you have a good time doing that. I love the multiplayer experience that that game has. But then I look into the game that I'm truly spending most of my time in. And that is, of course, there's only one game, right? There's only one. It's Fallout. It's Fallout 4, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. And Bethesda is by no means the best company in the world. They have their issues, just look at Prey. And I think it's that a lot of people want to be EA, a lot of these games. I mean, look at this. Vulcan, another ship in Star Citizen, right? Maybe people don't want to be EA. Maybe people want to be CIG. I mean, that could be something, right? Right? That could make them a lot of money, right? But their games are, I mean, at least Fallout 1, 2, 3, and New Vegas, very open-ended, very sandbox-ish, but with some underlying game, go off in your own direction, and it's very, the game fits a phrase, a word that I learned in one of my organizational comm classes. Those games fit a word called equifinality. There's many ways to get to the same solution. You don't have to go on the Disney ride. You jump on and you go. And one of the things I love about that game is being able to develop your character. So it makes me think about Star Citizen and what's really going to make Star Citizen fun for me. Well, first off, Squadron 42 is going to be a blast. I think that is going to be the game that I just get all giddy about because I love stories in games. I think the biggest travesty that ever happened to gaming was the millennials that turned gaming into running out, getting shot, falling down, getting back up again, respawning, whatever it is, and going back out again. Removing story from the game. I blame you, millennials. Because gaming isn't about that. Gaming is supposed to be about this catharsis, about removing yourself from reality, putting yourself into this fantasy world, letting yourself get enveloped in it. And really, games have turned into first-person shooters. I mean, they did that to Fallout 4. They took out a lot of the sandbox nature of it and put you on a kind of a Disney theme park ride. But I don't want that for this game. I want this to be open-ended. I want CIG to invest as much money into content. And when I mean content, I mean building rich storylines throughout the universe, throughout the galaxy, as they do into the ships and the multiplayer aspect of the game. Because that's what's going to keep me coming back. And yes, my experiences with my friends, with my organization are going to be what keeps me coming back also. But there still has to be a level of immersion that the game delivers. A story within that game. A story that develops over time. That I want. I want my character to matter. Not just based on the actions that she takes, that she makes, but also on the people and places that she affects. live Shia effects in the game, which means having to build in rich, believable characters, rich, believable cities. And that's the part of the game that next year I want to see get developed. This year, I just want the Stanton system to be fleshed out. I want all of the pieces of the game that we've been dying for. Right now, we can move cargo, and you know what? CIG, you did a great job. It's not perfect, but it doesn't suck, and I have fun at it. Missions, they're kind of weak because it's kind of like doing side quests in an adventure game. It's like, yeah, they're fun, but they really have no meaning, and they're just going to pop up again, and I'm not going to feel like I really did anything after doing 1,000,000 of them. But they're good for making money. And personalities, I really don't even go to the quest givers because, honestly, there really aren't many options to talk to them, and after you do them once, you don't really have to do them again. You just want to get in, make some money, and get out of the game. Because, really, when I jump in the game, I'm looking at the beauty. So this year I know it's just going to be a lot of jumping in the game from time to time, testing the different systems that are in there, flying the ships I want to fly, and just getting my dose of CIG's amazing simulator, space simulator. And that's where I'm going to be for the next 6 months to 8 months, right? We're already in February. We're almost March, almost the 3rd month of this year. So what are the things right now that really are ticking me off? Well, nothing. I mean, I have my disappointments. I got my Volume 3. When you think about it, they're on Volume 5 of Jump Point right now. I have my Volume 3 that just came in the mail. I don't know when Volume 4 is ever going to go to press. But I started going through it, and there's things in there that we still don't see that we paid for, like the Endeavor. It's supposed to be out sometime this year, right? Maybe next year? The Genesis. Oh my god, when's that going to be out? And they're still asking for money. Like, this is the first ship of 2018. First ship. Sells over 200,000 in a day, the Vulcan, which is a needed ship. I look at the Vulcan as being that ship that fulfills many needs. And the biggest needs is for a ship that's in the category of the F-18. Not as a attack aircraft, not as a fighter, or an electronic warfare jamming aircraft, but as like that multi-role aircraft that's needed to refuel, rearm, repair. It's needed, right? What if you are a ship that gets stranded, kind of like that Freelancer floating out there above me? This ship is instrumental in getting someplace fast and taking care of a tiny ship, not a big ship. Maybe a fleet of these could take care of a big ship, but getting it working again so it could get back to a crucible or a space dock and get repaired. But they're asking for more money again and not delivering. And you know what? I'm not even going to get into it because I know friends of mine just closed their eyes, opened their wallet, and threw money at the screen because it was a amazingly awesome concept for what they want to do, and it is going to keep the game diverse, and it is going to make the game more fun to play down the road. How the hell did I get inside that railing? I mean, that made no sense. I clipped through the railing. It's just wild. So I'm a little bit distracted there by new ships. I haven't put money on a new ship in a while. I have repurchased a ship that I melted, specifically the Avenger, and that's because I want to be ready for when the Avenger gets remade later this year. I'm all ready for the Mustang to be remade. I think they're coming into 3.2, which means that in June, April, May, June, July, sometime July, August, September, they should be in the game. Yeah, I could have waited a little bit longer to buy that Avenger, but I just wanted to get some time in it now, so when I do get the new update to it, I know how to talk to you about it. But you know, in reality, this one playthrough, this 42 minutes of playing Star Citizen told me, as frustrated as I get about the game, as disappointed as I get about the game, I still love it. I still think it's got a lot of promise. It's coming at us like a freight train, moving 1 mile an hour. But we're going to get the game that we want over time. We just have to be patient. And that's hard. Patience is hard. Well, the next video should be talking about something fun. And that should be about the Vulcan. We'll talk about that in maybe 2 days. And I think this should be enough for my comeback to State of the Game. And with that said, as you watch a black screen, you all be safe out there. And I'll talk to you soon.